Billionaire CEO buys a janitor's friendship, then shatters his world with a hidden lie that went viral. The wind howled through Chicago's downtown streets, carrying the sharp bite of December cold. Marcus Reed pushed his cleaning cart down the dimly lit hallway of Lang Tech Tower, the squeak of wheels echoing off gleaming marble walls. At 45, his body ached from years of scrubbing floors, but the night shift paid the bills. His calloused hands gripped the mop handle, the scent of pine cleaner mixing with the faint residue of spilled champagne from the executive Christmas party earlier that evening. The building should have been empty. Executives had long fled to their luxury condos in Lincoln Park, but light spilled from the corner office. Victoria Lang's office, CEO of Lang Tech, an empire built on data analytics that made her a billionaire before 40. Marcus had seen her from afar, sharp suits, sharper eyes, a woman who commanded rooms with a single glance. He paused. Soft sobs cut through the silence. Raw, broken sounds. Marcus's heart twisted. He knew that cry. It was the same one that had escaped his lips 3 years ago in a hospital room smelling of antiseptic and death, when his wife Sarah slipped away from cancer. Knocking softly on the frosted glass door, Marcus called out, "Ma'am." "You okay in there?" The sobbing stopped. A chair scraped. "Go away." Her voice slurred, thick with whiskey. Marcus should have left. Company policy, stay invisible. But kindness was his flaw, born from grief that taught him no one should suffer alone. He pushed the door open. Victoria Lang slumped over her desk, blonde hair disheveled, mascara streaking her cheeks like war paint. Empty bottles clinked as she shifted. The air reeked of expensive scotch and desperation. She looked up, eyes red-rimmed, vulnerability cracking her corporate armor. "Who the hell are you?" she snapped, but her hands trembled. "Marcus Reed, janitor. You look like you need help." She laughed bitter. "Help from you. I run a billion-dollar company. I don't need help from the help." Marcus ignored the sting. Pride was his armor, but empathy won. "Can't drive like this. Let me call a cab." From Victoria's perspective, the room spun. The party had been a blur of fake smiles and backslapping deals. Now, alone, the emptiness hit hard. Isolation was her cage, built from ambition that sacrificed everything, friends, family. This janitor, with his steady gaze, saw through her. It terrified her, enraged her. "Fine," she muttered, slumping back. Marcus dialed, helped her gather her coat. Her fingers brushed his, small, accidental touch, warm against the cold office air. In the elevator, she leaned against the wall, the hum of dissent vibrating through her bones. "Why?" she whispered. "Why help me? Everyone deserves to go home safe," Marcus said simply. Outside, wind whipped their faces. He bundled her into the cab, the door clicking shut like a period on the night. As it pulled away, Victoria watched him through the rear window, a shadow in the streetlight. The next morning, Marcus brewed cheap coffee in his small apartment in Inglewood, the L train rumbling outside. Lily, his 12-year-old daughter, bounced in, curls wild, eyes bright with dreams of marine biology. "Dad, science fair project's gonna crush it," he smiled, kissing her forehead. The scent of her shampoo, strawberry, reminded him of Sarah. Lily was his world, resilient despite loss but sensitive to deception. She hated lies. At work that evening, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Mr. Reed, Victoria Lang, coffee. 10 a.m. tomorrow, my treat." Marcus hesitated. Jenna, his sister, would warn him. Rich folks don't do kind without strings. But curiosity pulled him. They met at a dingy cafe near his neighborhood, steam rising from chipped mugs. Victoria, pristine in a tailored suit, looked out of place. Her hands fidgeted with the cup, nails perfectly manicured. "Thank you for last night," she said. "I was a mess. No big deal." "It is to me." Her voice cracked slightly. "I want to hire you. I already work for you. Not as janitor, as friend. $5,000 a month. Teach me. Connection. I'm lonely, Marcus. Success is empty." Rage flickered in him. By friendship, like everything else. But her eyes pleaded. He thought of Lily's tuition struggles, private school for her gifts, bills stacking. "No money," he said firmly. "If we're friends, it's real." Hope lit her face. "Deal?" As they shook hands, her grip lingered. A small gesture, charged. "What would you do if a billionaire offered to buy your humanity? How do you relate to Marcus's pride?" But Victoria harbored a secret, one that tied her to Marcus's past in ways he couldn't imagine. And when it surfaced, the betrayal would explode. But as their friendship began, Victoria's assistant whispered warnings in her ear, and Marcus had no idea the web of lies had already been spun years ago. Marcus led the way along the snow-dusted path, his boots crunching ice. Victoria's heels sank slightly, forcing her to grab his arm for balance. A small gesture, her fingers tight on his sleeve, manicured nails pressing through fabric. It sent a jolt through him, class divide in one touch, her softness against his rough wool. "Tell me about your life," she said, voice steady now, corporate poise returning. Marcus glanced at her. Wind whipped her hair, carrying the scent of expensive perfume mixed with lake brine. Simple. Work nights, days with Lily. She's 12, smart as hell. Wants to save the oceans. Victoria's eyes softened. From her view, Marcus was solid, unyielding, like the Chicago skyline against the gray sky. She envied that. Her days were boardrooms and betrayals, nights in a penthouse echoing with silence. Ambition had carved her sharp but left her hollow. Sounds perfect. Not always, Marcus's voice roughened. Wife died 3 years back, cancer, bills still haunt us. Sympathy flickered in her. Guilt too deeper, hidden, she pushed it down. I'm sorry, they reached a bench, sat. Cold seeped through wood. Marcus pulled out a thermos of coffee, poured her a cup. Steam rose, warming her hands. Real friendship starts here. No deals, Victoria sipped, bitter brew burning her tongue, different from her imported blends, authentic. It stirred something in her, rage at her own emptiness, or fear. Why refuse the money? Most would take it. Pride, he said shortly. Can't buy trust, her assistant Carla had warned her that morning in the office, heels clicking on marble. Miss Lang, getting close to staff, HR nightmare. And that tuition thing, if he finds out, Victoria had waved her off. It's charity, anonymous. But now with Marcus, doubt crept in. Manipulation under pressure, her trait, born from climbing a male-dominated tech world. Shifting POV, Marcus watched her face. Nuanced vulnerability there, not the ruthless CEO from headlines. But Jenna's words echoed. His sister, skeptical nurse from the South Side, diverse roots in her no-nonsense advice. Rich folks play games, bro. Don't get burned. They walked further, sirens fading into wind. Victoria tripped on ice, Marcus caught her elbow. Another gesture, his hand steady, calluses rough. Heat flushed her cheeks. Subtle romance brewing, slow burn under the cold. Tell me your story, he prompted. She hesitated. Built Langtech from a garage app, sacrificed everything. No family left, parents gone young. Relationships, casualties of success. Marcus nodded. Lonely at the top, you have no idea. Her voice cracked. Outrage simmered in her, self-directed. How dare she complain to him, scraping by. Back at his apartment that evening, Lily greeted him with a hug, her small arms tight. The place smelled of microwave dinners and crayons. Who was the lady dad? New friend, Victoria. Lily's eyes widened, observant as ever. Like rich friend, Marcus ruffled her hair. Just friend, but doubt nagged. Victoria's world clashed with his, gleaming towers versus cracked sidewalks. Later, phone buzzed. Victoria. Thanks for today, felt real. He smiled, but tension built. Small outrage. Her casual drop of a high-end restaurant invite next. My treat. No, he texted back. My neighborhood diner, real food. From Victoria's penthouse, city lights twinkling below, she stared at the message. Rage at rejection. Or thrill, Carla called. Boss, board's pushing that merger. Need you focused, not playing house with the help. Handle it, Victoria snapped. Guilt twisted. Her secret payments to Lily's school started after witnessing Sarah's death anonymously in the hospital her foundation funded. Pity then, now entanglement. Next meet, diner on Halsted Street, neon buzzing, grease scent heavy. Marcus arrived first, loyal friend Theo from work tagging along briefly. Theo, black mechanic turned janitor, clapped his back. Man CEO, watch your six, they eat folks like us. Victoria entered, turning heads in her coat, sat across, menu sticky in her hands. This is, quaint, Marcus leaned in. Real, order the burger, dialogue subtext rich. Her quips sharp, his responses grounded. Laughter came tentative. She bit into the burger, juice dripping, messy, human. A small gesture, he handed her a napkin, fingers brushing, but escalation brewed. She mentioned a small favor, tickets to a gala. Come as my guest. Outrage flickered in Marcus. Not my scene, suits and schmoozing. Please, she pressed, manipulative edge slipping out. He agreed reluctantly. At the gala, chandeliers glittering, champagne fizzing. Victoria in gown, arm on his. Whispers, who's the help? Rage built, class snub stinging. Our exec sneered. Charity case? Marcus stiffened. Victoria defended. He's my friend, but inside she raged at the exposure. Her world clashing, entitlement showing. Home, Lily asked. Fun, complicated. Marcus's trust frayed slightly. Psychological hook. How do you relate to Marcus's growing suspicion? If you were in his situation, would you pull back or dive in? Do you think Victoria should confess her secrets now, before the lies escalate? Switching to Victoria's mind. Alone in bed, silk sheets cool, she scrolled news, her merger announced. But thoughts on Marcus. Guilt over the tuition, 3 years of payments via anonymous donor per tuition assistance laws. HR compliant but deceptive. A text from him, thanks for tonight, felt out of place but you made it bearable. Warmth then fear, stakes rising, friendship deepening, romance hinting. Next day, park again, snow melting, slush underfoot, they talked dreams. Lily joined briefly, her laughter echoing. Victoria knelt, handed her a science book, small gesture, eyes meeting Marcus's. But Theo warned Marcus later, she's buying time, man, seen it. Outrage moment. Victoria's assistant leaked a memo accidentally, company policy on fraternization. Marcus saw it on his work email. Fury rose. Playing me, he confronted her via call. What's this policy? Exception for us, she lied smoothly. Manipulation under pressure. Rage escalated, his voice sharp. No games, I swear, but doubt planted. If this betrayal tease fires you up, share this with a friend who's been burned by lies. Subscribe to Millionaire CEO Stories for more explosive CEO dramas. Like and comment. Should Marcus walk away now? Deeper reflection. Marcus's grief made him trust easy, but pride armored him. Victoria's isolation drove her secrecy, nuance in her vulnerability. Emotional authenticity built, arcs hinting growth amid tension. Lyrical passage. As sun set over the lake, orange hues painting waves, Marcus felt the pull, connection real, yet fragile as ice cracking. But small lies layered, conflicts rising. Theo's doubt, Jenna's call. She's using you, Victoria in office, fingers tracing desk edge, gesture of unrest. Guilt over witnessing Sarah's end, funding the ward anonymously. Twist lurking. Friendship solidified over coffee runs, shared stories. Romance subtle. A lingering gaze, hand on shoulder. Yet outrage brewed, her casual mention of helping with bills. Let me. No, he snapped. Pride clash. Escalation rapid. Argument in her car, rain pattering roof. You think money fixes everything? Her eyes flashed. It helps. Rage unrestrained, his fist clenched, her tears falling. Reconciliation tentative, hug in rain, wet clothes clinging. But secrets simmered. Little did Marcus know, Lily's school was about to drop a bombshell that would unravel everything, turning their bond into a battlefield of betrayal. January winds sliced through the city like a blade. Marcus kept his collar turned up on the walk from the L station, breath clouding in short, angry bursts. The gala still burned in his memory, the way heads turned, the low murmur of charity case, the way Victoria's hand had tightened on his arm as if to anchor him. Anchor or leash? The question gnawed. Inside the Loop coffee shop, the air was thick with espresso and wet coats. Victoria was already there, back straight, fingers wrapped around a ceramic mug that looked too delicate for her usual steel. When he sat, she pushed a second cup toward him without asking, black, no sugar, exactly right. The small gesture landed like a quiet apology. You're quiet, she said. He met her gaze. Still tasting the room full of people who think I don't belong. Her jaw flexed. From her side of the table, the memory stung differently. She had spent years building walls so high no one could reach her. Now the one person she wanted close was bleeding from the shards she hadn't even noticed. They're idiots, you know that. Do I? His voice stayed low, controlled. Or am I just the convenient proof you're not as cold as they say? The words landed harder than he intended. Victoria flinched barely, but he caught it. The quick tightening of her fingers around the mug, the way her shoulders drew in half an inch. Not the CEO. Just a woman who had spent too long alone to remember how to defend herself without armor. I invited you because I wanted you there, she said. Not as a statement, as me. Marcus exhaled through his nose. Then why does it feel like I'm on display? Silence stretched. Outside, a siren wailed past, swallowed by traffic. Victoria looked down at her coffee, steam rising like regret. I hate that world sometimes, she admitted. The posturing, the judgment. I thought bringing you in would change the air, make it real. He studied her. The nuance lived in the small things, the faint tremor in her voice, the way she wouldn't meet his eyes for 3 full seconds. Not manipulation this time, pain. Real, quiet pain. Lily's science supply run came 2 days later. The store smelled of rubber and new plastic. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Lily moved like a comet between aisles, grabbing beakers and pH strips, her laughter bright against the sterile hum. Victoria followed a step behind, coat folded over her arm, heels clicking softly. When Lily reached for a basic microscope kit, Victoria stepped forward. This one's better, she said, lifting a higher-end model from the shelf. USB camera, 1000x magnification. She'll get clearer images for her presentation. Marcus's hand closed around the cart handle. We were looking at the $89 one. Victoria turned. This is $229. It's not charity, it's practical. She deserves the best shot. Lily froze, eyes flicking between them, sensitive to tone the way only children can be. Dad, Marcus's voice dropped. Put it back. Victoria's mouth opened, closed. For a heartbeat, she looked genuinely startled, like someone who had never been told no without a boardroom title behind it. Then she set the box down slowly, deliberately, the plastic clicking against metal shelf. Okay, she said, quiet, almost small. Lily exhaled, uncertain. Marcus pushed the cart forward. The silence between the three of them felt heavier than the winter air outside. That night, pasta sauce simmering on the stove, Jenna arrived unannounced. She dropped her nurse bag by the door, eyes narrowing the second she saw Victoria standing at the counter, sleeves rolled up, awkwardly stirring. Evening, Jenna said, tone flat. Victoria offered a careful smile. Jenna, right, Marcus talks about you. Does he? Jenna glanced at her brother. You okay? Marcus nodded once. Tight. Dinner was polite surface tension. Forks scraped plates. Lily chattered about her project to fill the quiet. Jenna watched Victoria the way she watched patients hiding symptoms, searching for the lie beneath the skin. After Lily went to bed, the three adults stayed at the table. Jenna didn't waste time. You're generous, she said to Victoria. Gifts, invites, time, that's a pattern. Victoria straightened. I care about them. Care, Jenna repeated. Or collect, Marcus's chair scraped back an inch. Jenna, no, Victoria cut in. Let her finish. Jenna leaned forward. I've seen rich people do this before. They find someone real, someone who reminds them what feeling feels like. Then they start buying pieces of that life until it fits their narrative. You're not buying friendship, you're renting proximity. Victoria's hands flattened on the table. Knuckles white, that's not what this is. Then what is it? Jenna asked. Because from where I'm sitting, you're the one holding all the cards. Marcus felt the room tilt. Grief had taught him to trust kindness. Pride was teaching him to question it. He looked at Victoria, really looked. The woman who ran boardrooms like battlefields now sat with shoulders curved inward, eyes glassy. I started helping because I saw need, she said, voice barely above a whisper, and I didn't know how else to reach. Helping, Marcus echoed. Or controlling, the word hung. Victoria stood abruptly, chair legs scraped linoleum. I should go, Marcus caught her wrist, not hard, just enough to stop her. Skin warm against skin, a small electric gesture in the middle of the storm. Don't, he said. Not like this, she looked down at his hand, then up at his face. Tears shimmered but didn't fall. I'm trying to be better than the version of me you hate right now. He let go slowly. Then stop hiding. She nodded once sharp, like a promise she wasn't sure she could keep. Later, alone in the dark of her penthouse, Victoria stood at the floor-to-ceiling glass, city lights smearing below, fingers pressed to the cold pane. She thought of Sarah's hospital room, the antiseptic smell, the soft beep of machines, the way she had stood in the hallway after the anonymous donation, watching a grieving man hold his dying wife's hand. Guilt had rooted there. Years later, it bloomed into this tangled mess. Across town, Marcus sat on the edge of his bed, elbows on knees, staring at the floor. Lily's soft breathing drifted from the next room. He felt the pull, real connection, fragile as new ice, and the fear that it might crack under the weight of whatever Victoria wasn't saying. If you've ever had to choose between protecting your heart and giving someone a second chance, what did you do? Drop it in the comments. Do you think Victoria's guilt justifies the secrecy, or is Marcus right to demand the truth now? The next afternoon, Lily came home clutching a school envelope, brow furrowed. Dad, they sent this. About my tuition. Marcus took the paper. His stomach dropped. One line stood out in bold. Donor Continuation Notice Anonymous Foundation. He stared at the name of the foundation. Lang Family Philanthropic Fund. But the notice wasn't the only thing in the envelope. Tucked inside was a single handwritten note that would change the shape of every lie still waiting to surface. Marcus's fingers trembled as he unfolded the school notice again, the paper crinkling like dry leaves in the dim kitchen light. The foundation name stared back. Lang Family Philanthropic Fund. Victoria's. Anonymous donor, my ass. His pulse hammered, coffee mug forgotten on the counter, its bitter steam curling upward untouched. Then he saw it, the tucked note, handwritten on cream stationery, edges slightly frayed. No signature, but the script was elegant, precise. For the girl who reminds me of what loss looks like. Keep fighting, a date scrawled at the bottom. 3 years ago, almost to the day Sarah died. Rage ignited, hot and immediate. Who writes that? Who watches from the shadows? He grabbed his phone, thumb jabbing Victoria's number. It rang twice. Marcus, her voice warm at first like always. What the hell is this? He snapped a photo of the note, sent it. Silence on her end, thick telling. From Victoria's office, the city sprawled below like an indifferent grid. Her hand pressed to her desk, wood cool under palm. The photo loaded and her breath caught. That note, she'd written it in a weak moment, after leaving the hospital, guilt churning like the lake in a storm. Anonymity was supposed to protect her. Now it condemned. I can explain, she said finally, voice steady but laced with fracture. Explain, you've been paying Lily's tuition for years. Before we even met, his words came short, punchy, each one a blow. You think that's friendship, that's control. Not here, come over. She hung up, heart racing. Carla poked her head in, eyebrows raised. Everything okay, boss? Fine. Lie, manipulation reflex kicking in. Marcus paced his apartment, linoleum sticky under boots. Lily watched from the hallway, arms crossed, her young face a mirror of Sarah's quiet observation. Dad. What's wrong? He knelt, hands on her shoulders, gentle despite the storm inside. Grown-up stuff, kiddo, Victoria, helped with school without telling us. Lily's eyes widened, resilient spark dimming, like a secret Santa. But why hide? Because she's entitled, he thought. Because people like her think money erases boundaries. I don't know yet. Jenna arrived minutes later, summoned by his frantic text. She burst in, coat shedding snowflakes that melted into dark spots on the floor. I knew it. Rich bitch playing God. Language, Marcus muttered, but agreement burned in his chest. Jenna hugged Lily, then turned to him. Confront her. Now he drove through slushy streets, wipers thumping like accusations. Victoria's building loomed, glass facade reflecting distorted streetlights. Security waved him up perks of being the CEO's friend. She opened the door herself, no makeup, hair loose. Vulnerable or staged, Marcus, he thrust the note forward. Explain this. She stepped back, gesturing to the couch. The penthouse smelled of fresh lilies, ironic, given his daughter's name. He sat rigidly. She perched opposite, knees touching briefly. Small contact, charged with betrayal. It started before I knew you, she said. I visited the hospital. Your wife's ward, my foundation funds it. I saw you there, holding her hand. The pain, it hit me, Marcus recoiled. You watched us like some spectator. Not like that. Tears welled, genuine, her voice cracked on the edge. I lost my parents young. Cancer too. I saw myself in you, in Lily. So I set up the payments. Anonymous per foundation rules. Tax deductible, compliant. But it was guilt, pity at first. Pity. The word exploded from him. Outrage unrestrained, he stood, pacing, fists clenched at sides. You pitied us, threw money like crumbs, then waltzed into our lives pretending it was chance. She rose too, hands outstretched. It became more. When I met you that night, it felt like fate. I didn't know how to tell you without. Losing this? Losing what? Your pet project. Rage escalated, voice rising over the distant hum of traffic. You manipulated everything. Gifts, time, all to assuage your conscience. Her face crumpled. Not the ruthless CEO now, just a woman stripped bare. I love you, both of you, that's real. Love, the confession hung, subtext heavy. Marcus froze, grief and pride warring. Trust, his flaw shattered here. But her eyes pleaded, nuance in the tremble of her lip. Lily's call interrupted, timing brutal. Dad, when you coming home? Soon, sweetheart. He hung up, turned back. You robbed me of providing for her. That's my job. My pride, Victoria sank to the couch, head in hands. Fingers knotted in hair, gesture of raw despair. I know, I was wrong. Terrified you'd see me as the villain. You are, he whispered. But doubt flickered, her isolation mirrored his loss, humanizing the entitlement. Theo texted, heard whispers at work. She's in deep with that merger. Using you as distraction, fury compounded. Marcus slammed the door on his way out, wind whipping his face like judgment. Home, Lily waited, crayons paused mid-drawing. Is Victoria bad? He hugged her tight, her small frame warm against his chest. Complicated, people make mistakes, but inside rage simmered, psychological depth clawed. If you relate to Marcus's shattered trust, how do you rebuild? In his shoes, would you forgive the watcher in the shadows? Do you think Victoria should have confessed on day one, owning her guilt before it poisoned everything? Lyrical interlude. Moonlight filtered through cracked blinds, casting shadows like fractured promises. Marcus lay awake, Sarah's absence a ghost beside him, Victoria's words echoing like waves against the pier, pulling, eroding. Next morning, Victoria stared at her reflection in the office mirror, eyes hollow. Carla entered, shareholders called, mergers shaky, rumors of your personal distractions. Tell them it's handled, but it wasn't. Guilt evolved to fear, losing him would confirm her emptiness. Marcus at work mopped halls with mechanical fury, overheard whispers, Lang's slumming, pathetic power play. Outrage peaked, he stormed toward the lobby, phone in hand. Not yet viral, but the fuse lit. Emotional authenticity deepened. His grief wasn't just backstory, it fueled every accusation, making betrayal cut soul deep. Victoria's vulnerability wasn't excuse, it was the crack where light might enter, if rage allowed. As Marcus's anger boiled over into the company lobby the next day, a stranger's phone captured every explosive word, and within hours, the video would erupt online, turning private betrayal into public wildfire. One phone video, one moment of raw, unfiltered rage in a gleaming corporate lobby. Now the whole internet is watching Marcus call out the billionaire who secretly bought his life, and the comments are on fire. If you've ever been humiliated by someone who thought money made them untouchable, the lobby of Lang Tech Tower smelled of polished stone and fresh coffee from the executive barista station. Marcus stood in the center of it at 8:17 a.m., security badge still clipped to his jacket, mop bucket abandoned by the service elevator. He hadn't slept. The envelope, the note, Victoria's tear-streaked face last night. All of it fused into something sharp and unstoppable. He spotted her the second the private elevator doors parted. Victoria stepped out in charcoal gray, heels clicking with practiced authority, Carla trailing 2 steps behind like a shadow. The moment Victoria saw him, her stride faltered, just a half beat, but enough for the handful of early arriving employees to notice. "Marcus," she said, voice low but carrying. "Not here." He didn't move. "Why not here?" You've been watching me for years. Might as well let everyone watch this. A junior analyst near the reception desk pulled out her phone. Another followed. Phones rose like small silver shields. Victoria's eyes flicked to the screens. Panic flashed brief, human, then the mask snapped back. Let's take this upstairs. No, Marcus's voice cracked the morning hush. You don't get to hide this time. He held up the school notice, the Lang Family Philanthropic Fund logo visible even from 10 feet away. 3 years, you paid my daughter's tuition. Watched my wife die from the hallway. Wrote her a note like some ghost donor playing savior. Then you walked into my life pretending we were strangers. Gasps rippled. Phones tilted closer. Victoria took one step forward, palms out. You never meant to control us, he cut in. Never meant to buy silence. You pitied us, Victoria. Then you collected us. Like we were broken things you could fix with checks and coffee runs. Her throat worked. Tears shimmered but didn't fall. I was trying to make it right. By lying, his laugh was bitter, short. Every dinner, every park walk. Every time Lily smiled at you, you knew, and you let me believe it was real. Carla stepped forward. Sir, this is private. Private, Marcus turned to her. She made it public the second she decided my grief was her redemption arc. The lobby had gone still. 30, maybe 40 people now, interns, security, maintenance crew, frozen in a loose semicircle, phones recording from every angle. Victoria's voice dropped to almost a whisper. I love you, I love Lily. That part was never a lie. Marcus's shoulders shook once. Grief and fury tangled so tight he could barely breathe. Love doesn't come with surveillance. Love doesn't rewrite someone's pride without asking. He turned in a slow circle, addressing the room as much as her. She funded my wife's hospital ward, saw me at my lowest. Then she paid my kids' school bills for 3 years, anonymous of course, because billionaires don't ask permission. They decide what's best. A murmur rose, shock, anger, curiosity. Someone whispered, that's messed up. Victoria flinched as if slapped. Her hands dropped to her sides. No defense left, just exposure. Marcus looked straight at her. You wanted real, here it is. Real hurts. Real means telling the truth before you build a life on top of a lie. He let the paper fall. It fluttered to the marble, landing between them like a dropped gauntlet. Then he walked out. The revolving door spun behind him. Cold air hit his face like a slap. His phone buzzed immediately. Theo. Bro, it's already uploading. Multiple angles. You good? Marcus didn't answer. He just kept walking, boots crunching slush, chest heaving. Across town, Victoria stood motionless in the lobby. Phones were still up. No one spoke. Carla touched her elbow. Miss Lang, Victoria shook her head. She bent slowly, picked up the fallen notice. Her fingers trembled so badly the paper shook. She folded it once, twice, tucked it into her pocket like evidence she couldn't discard. Then she turned and walked back to the elevator. Head high, shoulders squared. But anyone watching closely saw the way her heel caught once. Tiny stumble, human falter. By noon, the first clip hit X title. Janitor confronts billionaire CEO in lobby. She secretly paid his kids' tuition for years while pretending to be his friend. Views climbed. 10,000, 50,000, 200,000. Comments flooded. This is why the rich stay rich. They buy people's lives and call it kindness. Pouting face. She watched his wife die and thought money would fix it. Psychopath behavior. Marcus is a king for saying it out loud. Protect that man. Victoria Lang trending. Her stock just took a 4% hit in after hours. Victoria sat alone in her office, blinds half closed, screen reflecting her pale face. The video looped silently on mute. She watched Marcus's face, pain, fury, dignity, and felt something crack inside her chest. Not anger at him, at herself. Across the city, Marcus sat on his couch, Lily curled against his side. She hadn't spoken much since he told her. Now she traced circles on his knee with one finger. Dad, is Victoria really bad? He exhaled. She did bad things for complicated reasons. Doesn't make them right, Lily nodded slowly. But she cried when Mom died too, in her own way. Marcus closed his eyes. The nuance pierced him. Victoria wasn't a cartoon villain. She was broken in her own gilded cage. That didn't erase the betrayal. It just made it ache deeper. Jenna called. Videos everywhere. People are donating to Lily's future college fund. Strangers. Real money. No strings. Marcus laughed once hollow. Irony, psychological gut punch. If you were Marcus right now, staring at a viral video of your own humiliation, would the support feel like justice or just more noise? If you were Victoria, watching your empire crack because you couldn't tell the truth sooner, what would you do next? Double down or finally break open? That night, Victoria stood at her window, city lights blurring through unshed tears. She opened her laptop, drafted an email to the board, emergency meeting. Subject, personal disclosure, immediate transparency required. She didn't send it yet. Instead, she typed Marcus's name into a private message. One sentence. I'm sorry, not for helping, for hiding. She hit send. His phone lit up on the coffee table. He stared at the screen for a long time, didn't reply. But the next morning, a process server knocked on Marcus's door with papers from Lang Tech, and what they demanded next would push the betrayal from viral scandal straight into courtroom territory. The knock came at 7:42 a.m., sharp and official. Marcus opened the door in yesterday's t-shirt, coffee still brewing behind him. A man in a cheap suit stood on the landing, clipboard in hand, breath fogging in the cold hallway air. Marcus Reed, yeah, service of process. The man extended an envelope thick enough to feel like a brick. You've been served. Marcus took it without a word. The door closed with a soft click that sounded louder than it should. Inside the envelope, summons and complaint. Lang Tech Holdings v. Marcus Reed. Defamation. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Breach of implied confidentiality. They wanted damages, 7 figures. They wanted the video scrubbed from every platform. They wanted a permanent injunction barring him from speaking about Victoria Lang, the company, or any related matters in public or private. He read it twice. Then he sat on the couch, paper trembling in his hands. Lily padded in from her room, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Dad, who was that? Someone delivering mail. He folded the documents, tucked them under a couch cushion like they might disappear if hidden. Nothing you need to worry about. But she saw the tightness in his jaw. She didn't push, just sat beside him, small shoulder against his arm. The silence between them felt heavier than the legal threat. Across the city, Victoria sat in the glass-walled conference room on the 42nd floor. Sunlight sliced through blinds in harsh stripes. Carla slid the folder across the table. Legal drafted it overnight. We can file by noon. The board approved unanimous. Victoria stared at the cover sheet, her own name in bold as plaintiff. This will make it worse. It will make it stop, Carla said flatly. The stock dipped another 2.8% this morning. Analysts are calling it a reputational crisis. You need containment. Victoria's fingers traced the edge of the folder. Small, unconscious gesture, nail catching on the paper, pulling a tiny tear. He's not lying, he's damaging the brand. He's telling the truth. Her voice cracked on the last word, and I let it happen. Carla hesitated, rare for her. Then why are we doing this? Because I'm scared. Victoria looked up, eyes red-rimmed but dry. If I lose him completely, what's left? The question hung. No one answered. Marcus didn't go to work, called in sick, first time in 3 years. Theo showed up at the apartment an hour later with 2 coffees and a grim expression. Legal's moving fast. My cousin's a paralegal downtown. Says they're trying to bury it before the afternoon news cycle. Marcus handed him the summons. Theo skimmed, whistled low. 7 figures. They're not playing. They never do. Theo set the papers down carefully. You talked to a lawyer yet? Don't have one. Don't have the money for one. Theo leaned forward. Crowdfund it. People are already donating for Lily's college. Turn it into a defense fund. The internet loves an underdog. Marcus shook his head. I'm not turning my kid's future into a spectacle. You already are, man. The spectacle started in that lobby. Lily appeared in the doorway, holding her phone. Dad, there's a GoFundMe. Someone started it for you. Justice for Marcus Reed, defend the truth. It's at $18,000 in 2 hours. Marcus stared at the screen. Strangers' comments scrolled. Take them down, King. She can't buy silence. Class warfare just got real. His stomach twisted, not triumph. Nausea. The rage that fueled the lobby confrontation had curdled into something colder, exposure without control. Jenna arrived next, scrubs still on from night shift. She read the summons, face darkening. They're trying to bankrupt you into shutting up. Marcus rubbed his temples. I can't fight this. You already did. Jenna's voice softened. You spoke, now they're scared. That's why the hammer. Lily tugged his sleeve. Are we going to lose the apartment? The question, small, terrified, landed like a physical blow. Marcus pulled her into his lap, arms tight. No, baby. We're not losing anything. But doubt gnawed. Pride, his oldest armor, felt paper-thin against legal stationery and corporate billions. Victoria spent the afternoon alone in her office, blinds drawn. She opened the video again, muted this time. Watched Marcus's face, the way his voice broke on, love doesn't come with surveillance. The way he let the paper fall like it weighed nothing. She paused on his eyes. Pain, dignity. Grief she recognized because she'd caused it. Her phone buzzed. Board chair. Victoria, we need your signature on the filing. Now. She stared at the screen. Then she typed one word in reply. No, she hit send. Then she opened a new document. Subject, public statement, personal apology and full disclosure. She began typing. By evening, Marcus sat on the fire escape, city noise rising like distant thunder. Lily asleep inside. Jenna gone to pick up dinner. He opened Victoria's message from the night before. I'm sorry, not for helping, for hiding. He stared at it for a long time, then he typed back. One line. Why the lawsuit? Her reply came in under a minute. It's not me, it's the board. I said no. They're filing anyway. Marcus exhaled, breath visible in the cold. Nuanced truth. She wasn't the cartoon tyrant the internet painted. She was trapped too by the machine she'd built. He didn't reply again, but he saved the message. That night, the GoFundMe hit $47,000. Comments kept coming. Power to the people. She's scared now. Marcus deserves better. Victoria watched the numbers climb from her darkened penthouse. Not anger, quiet awe, and shame. She added one more line to her draft statement. I never wanted to silence him. I only wanted to protect what we had. I was wrong. She didn't send it yet. Psychological knife twist. If you were Marcus, drowning in donations and legal threats at once, would the crowd's support feel like armor or another cage? If you were Victoria, watching strangers fund the man you love because you couldn't tell the truth sooner, how long could you stay silent? But the next morning, Victoria stepped into a hastily called press conference, and the words she spoke would either end the nightmare or ignite it into something no one could control. The conference room at Lang Tech headquarters smelled of fresh paint and nervous sweat. Folding chairs lined up in neat rows, lights hot on the small stage, reporters jostled, phones already recording before Victoria even appeared. She walked out at 11:03 a.m., no notes, no teleprompter, just a single sheet of paper folded in her hand, edges already creased from how many times she'd opened and closed it. She wore the same charcoal suit from the day before, rumpled now, sleeves pushed to her elbows, no makeup to hide the shadows under her eyes. The room hushed when she reached the microphone. She looked straight into the cameras, no smile. No practiced poise. I'm not here to defend myself, she began, voice steady but quieter than anyone expected. I'm here because I owe the truth. A ripple of murmurs, phones lifted higher. 3 years ago, I made an anonymous donation to a hospital ward. I saw a man holding his dying wife's hand. I saw a little girl waiting in the hallway with crayons and fear. I recognized grief because I'd carried it too. My parents died the same way when I was barely older than that child. She paused, swallowed once. I funded Lily Reed's education after that, not because I knew Marcus then. Because I couldn't stand the thought of another child losing opportunities the way I once did. I kept it secret, foundation rules, tax compliance, my own cowardice. Then I met him. And instead of telling him the day we became friends, I let the lie grow. Every coffee, every park walk, every time his daughter hugged me, I carried the weight of that silence. Her voice cracked on the last word, not dramatically. Just a small fracture, human and unmistakable. I never meant to buy his trust. I never meant to control his life. But I did both. And when he confronted me, when he stood in this building and spoke the truth, I let the board turn it into a lawsuit instead of facing what I'd done. Gasps. Cameras clicked faster. I've instructed legal to withdraw every claim against Marcus Reed. There will be no injunction, no damages, no gag order. The video stays. The truth stays. She unfolded the paper. Her fingers shook just enough to notice. To Marcus, to Lily, to everyone who watched that lobby moment and felt rage or recognition, I am sorry. Not the polished corporate apology. The real one. I was wrong to hide. Wrong to assume money could bridge what honesty should have. Wrong to let fear of losing you stop me from earning you. She looked up again, eyes wet but steady. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect understanding. I only want you to know that the love I feel for both of you is not part of the lie. It's the only honest thing I've had in years. Silence held for 3 full seconds. Then the room erupted. Questions fired like gunfire. Is this damage control? Are you resigning? Will you meet Marcus face to face? Victoria raised one hand. Quiet command. I'm stepping back from daily operations for the next month. The board will manage. I need time. To fix what I can. If Marcus ever wants to speak, I'll listen. No cameras, no lawyers, just us. She stepped away from the mic. No dramatic exit. Just a slow walk off stage, shoulders curved inward like someone carrying something heavier than she looked. The feed cut to reporters scrambling for stand-ups. Across town, Marcus watched on his cracked phone screen, sitting on the apartment floor with his back against the couch. Lily beside him, knees drawn up. Jenna stood in the doorway, arms crossed. The live stream ended. Silence settled. Lily spoke first, soft. She sounded sad. Marcus nodded once, couldn't speak yet. Jenna exhaled. She's still trying to control the narrative. Maybe, Marcus said, or maybe she's finally letting it go. His phone buzzed, unknown number, voicemail. He played it on speaker. Victoria's voice, raw, no polish. Marcus. I meant every word. The lawsuit's dead. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to hear it without a stage. If you never want to see me again, I'll respect that. But if there's even a small chance, I'll wait. The message ended. Lily looked up at him. What are you going to do? He stared at the blank screen. Grief, rage, something softer, all tangled. I don't know yet. Theo texted. Press conference trending #1. Donations just hit $120,000. People are calling her brave. Others are calling her manipulative. Internet split. Marcus set the phone down. Psychological core. If you were Marcus, hearing that apology after the humiliation, the lawsuit threat, the public storm, would one honest moment begin to loosen the knot of betrayal? or would pride keep it tied forever? If you were Victoria, bearing everything on live television knowing it might still not be enough, how much courage would it take to walk off that stage alone? That afternoon Marcus took Lily to the park. Snow had melted into gray slush. They sat on a bench, her mittened hand in his. "She said she loves us," Lily whispered. "She did. Do you believe her?" Marcus looked across the frozen lake, wind carrying distant L-train rumble. "I believe she's hurting." "Same as us?" Lily leaned her head on his shoulder. Small gesture, steady anchor. Back home, he opened Victoria's last message again. He typed one reply. "Coffee, tomorrow. No cameras. No apologies needed, just talk." He hit send. Across the city, Victoria's phone lit up. She stared at the words until they blurred. Then she smiled, small, broken, real. But when Marcus walked into the diner the next morning, Victoria was already there, holding a single envelope that contained the one thing neither of them expected. A full legal release of the tuition debt, signed and notarized, with no strings attached. The diner smelled of bacon grease, burnt toast, and decades of spilled coffee soaked into the linoleum. Victoria arrived 20 minutes early. She chose the corner booth, the one with the cracked vinyl seat and the window that rattled every time an L-train passed overhead. No entourage, no designer coat, just jeans, a plain gray sweater, hair pulled into a low knot. She looked smaller than the woman who commanded boardrooms, more like someone who hadn't slept in days. She set the envelope on the table face down, thick, official-looking, edges crisp. Inside, a notarized release of all tuition obligations, retroactive and unconditional, no repayment schedule, no thank you clause, no lingering claim, just freedom for Lily, for Marcus, for the pride she'd quietly eroded. She ordered black coffee, didn't drink it, just watched the steam rise and disappear. Marcus walked in at 9:02. Wind followed him through the door, carrying the sharp February bite. He saw her immediately. Their eyes met across the room, brief, unguarded collision. No smile, no wave, just recognition. He slid into the booth opposite her. The table between them felt wider than the city. "You came," she said quietly. "I said I would." Silence stretched. The waitress set down a second coffee without asking. Marcus wrapped both hands around the mug. Heat seeped into his palms. Victoria pushed the envelope toward him an inch. "This is the full release. Debt forgiven, no strings, no record of it ever existing in our names. Lily's future is untouched by me." Marcus looked at it but didn't touch it. "Why now?" he asked. "Because keeping it was another way of holding on." Her voice was low, almost lost under the clatter of plates. "I thought letting go would mean losing you completely. Turns out holding on was what was losing you." He exhaled slowly. "You watched my wife die. You funded her room. You funded our daughter's school. Then you walked into our lives like fate handed you a second chance." Victoria nodded once. No defense, just acknowledgement. "I told myself it was kindness," she said, "but it was control dressed up as generosity. I wanted to be the hero of your story without asking if you needed one." Marcus's thumb traced the rim of the mug. Small, repetitive motion, anchor in the storm. "Do you know what the hardest part is?" he asked. "Not the money, not even the lie. It's that Lily trusted you. She hugged you. She called you by name like you belonged. And every time she did, you knew you were keeping something from her father." Victoria's eyes filled. She didn't blink the tears away. Let them sit there, shimmering. "I know," she whispered. "I replay it every night," her laugh. Her questions about marine biology, the way she'd lean against me when we read together. I stole those moments by not being honest. Marcus looked out the window. An L-train rattled past, windows flashing light across his face. "She still asks about you," he said, not angrily, just quietly, like she's waiting for permission to miss you. Victoria's breath hitched, one small, involuntary sound. Marcus finally touched the envelope, slid it closer, opened it. "Read the single page, clean language, legal precision, zero ambiguity." He set it down. "I could sign this," he said. "Walk away, keep the anger. Let the internet keep hating you. Let the donations keep coming. Let pride win." He met her eyes. "Or I could sign it and still choose to sit here. Not because you bought forgiveness, but because maybe, the person who made those mistakes is also the person who finally owned them." Victoria's hands flattened on the table. Knuckles pale. "I don't expect you to choose the second one," she said. "I just needed you to know the debt is gone either way. You never owed me anything. I owed you everything." Marcus studied her face, the faint lines around her eyes, the way her mouth trembled at the corners. Not the CEO, not the donor, just Victoria, flawed, exposed, human. He picked up the pen she'd laid beside the papers, paused, then signed. Not with flourish, just a quick, steady stroke. Marcus read. He slid the document back to her. She stared at the signature like it might vanish. "Thank you," she breathed. "Don't thank me yet," he said. "This doesn't mean we're okay. It means the money's not between us anymore. The rest we have to earn." She nodded. Tears finally spilled, quiet, no drama. She wiped them with the heel of her hand, small, unguarded gesture. Marcus leaned forward slightly. Lily wants to see you, he said. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon, on our terms. No gifts, no grand gestures, just you, the real one. Victoria's lips parted. No sound came at first. Then, I'll wait as long as it takes. The waitress refilled their coffees without a word. Steam rose again between them, thinner now, less like a wall. Outside, snow began to fall in soft, hesitant flakes. Marcus stood first, pulled on his jacket. I'm not promising anything, he said at the door. I know, he looked back once. Take care of yourself, Victoria. She managed a small, tremulous smile. You too. He stepped into the snow. The door jingled shut behind him. Victoria stayed in the booth a long time, fingers tracing the place where his signature had been. Not triumph, not closure, just the beginning of something fragile, honest, and terrifyingly real. If you've ever signed away a debt only to realize the real debt was trust, what did it feel like when you finally let go? Drop it in the comments. Would you have invited her back into Lily's life or drawn the line forever? But 3 weeks later, when Lily asked if Victoria could come to her science fair presentation, Marcus had to decide whether one honest conversation was enough to risk letting her back into their world, or if the scar tissue was still too fresh to touch. One 12-year-old girl stands at the front of a school gymnasium, holding a volcano model she built with her own hands, and asks the one person who betrayed her trust to come watch. 3 weeks had passed since the diner. 21 days of careful silence. No texts, no calls, just the slow thaw of snow into mud outside Marcus's apartment window. Lily finished her project on March 14th. A working model of ocean acidification, baking soda, vinegar, red cabbage indicator turning from purple to pink in real time. She'd built it alone in her room, door half open, soft music drifting out. Marcus had watched from the hallway more than once, never interrupting. The night before the fair, she found him in the kitchen, washing dishes by hand because the machine was broken again. Dad, he turned off the tap. Dried his hands on a faded towel. I want Victoria to come tomorrow. Marcus set the towel down slowly. The words landed soft, but they carried weight. She's not family, Lily. She was almost. Lily's voice stayed even. No whine, just fact. She helped me pick the indicator. She explained pH without making me feel small. Then she lied, but she said sorry on TV, where everyone could see. Marcus leaned against the counter. Arms crossed, not defensive, just steadying himself. You're 12, he said quietly. You don't have to forgive anyone who hurt us. I'm not forgiving her yet. Lily met his eyes, Sarah's eyes, clear and unflinching. I just want to show her what I made. If she cares, she'll come. If she doesn't, she won't. Either way, I'll know. Marcus felt the floor shift under him. Pride wanted to say no. Grief wanted to shield her. But something deeper, love, maybe recognized the courage in her question. He exhaled. I'll ask her. No promises. Lily nodded once, small, satisfied. Then she went back to her room, leaving the door open wider than before. Marcus sat at the kitchen table for a long time, phone in hand, thumb hovering over Victoria's name. Finally, he typed, Science fair tomorrow, 2 p.m. Lincoln Elementary Gym. Lily asked if you'd come. No pressure, no expectations. Just show up if you want to see what she built. He hit send. The reply came in under 90 seconds. I'll be there. Thank you. No emojis, no exclamation points, just quiet certainty. The gymnasium smelled of floor wax, popcorn from the PTA table, and nervous sweat. Folding chairs scraped against wood. Parents murmured. Kids fidgeted in front of trifold boards. Lily stood at her table near the back, ponytail tight, fingers twisting the hem of her favorite blue sweater. She'd set up the volcano on a plastic tray, indicator solution already prepared in clear cups. A small sign read, What happens when the ocean gets sick? Marcus stood a few feet away, arms folded, scanning the crowd. Jenna was beside him, silent support. Theo lingered near the door, ready to leave if things got tense. At 2:07, the side door opened. Victoria slipped in. No suit, no heels, dark jeans, wool coat, scarf loose around her neck, hair down, no makeup. She looked like someone who had rehearsed this moment in front of a mirror and still didn't know if she belonged. She didn't wave, didn't call out, just found an empty chair 3 rows back and sat, hands folded in her lap, eyes fixed on Lily. Lily spotted her almost immediately. For a heartbeat, their gazes locked. Lily gave the smallest nod, acknowledgement, not welcome. Then she turned back to her display, shoulders squaring. The judging began. When Lily's turn came, she stepped forward, voice clear despite the tremor at the edges. This is about ocean acidification. Carbon dioxide from factories and cars gets absorbed by the sea. It makes the water more acidic. Shells dissolve, coral dies. Fish can't smell predators anymore. She poured vinegar into the baking soda base. Bubbles rose. The indicator shifted from purple to bright fuchsia. That's what happens inside the ocean right now. We're changing it faster than it can heal. She paused, looked straight at Victoria. But if we stop, if we choose better, it can get better too. The room was quiet. A few parents clapped. One judge nodded, scribbling notes. Lily stepped back to her table. Victoria stayed seated through the rest of the presentations. Didn't move, didn't applaud loudly, just watched. When the ribbons were handed out, Lily got second place, honorable mention for originality. Victoria finally stood. She approached slowly, stopped 3 feet away. Lily looked up. Victoria's voice was soft, almost lost in the post-fair chatter. "It's beautiful, Lily. You explained it better than most adults could." Lily studied her face. No anger. No warmth yet, just measurement. "You came." "I did." Lily glanced at Marcus. He gave the slightest nod permission. Lily stepped forward, closed the distance to 1 foot. "I'm not ready to hug you," she said plainly. "But I'm glad you saw it." Victoria's throat worked. "I'm glad too." No tears, no dramatic embrace. Just a quiet, honest moment between a child who had been hurt and a woman who had done the hurting. Marcus watched from the side. Chest tight, not rage anymore, something slower, sadder, more complicated. Victoria looked at him over Lily's head. "Thank you for letting me be here." He didn't answer right away. Then she asked. I listened. Victoria nodded once. She turned to leave. At the door she paused, looked back. Lily was already showing her ribbon to Jenna. Marcus stood beside them, hand resting lightly on his daughter's shoulder. Victoria slipped out into the March afternoon. Snow had stopped. Sunlight cut through bare branches, sharp and forgiving. But 2 months later, when summer light poured through the kitchen window and Lily asked if Victoria could join them for one simple Saturday breakfast, no cameras, no expectations, no debt left hanging, Marcus had to face the final question. Was the scar strong enough now to carry both love and memory without breaking again? A single basketball thumps against asphalt at dawn. 3 people stand together at the edge of the court. One man who once mopped floors for the woman who almost owned his life. One woman who finally learned she couldn't buy belonging. And one girl who decided forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. If you've ever watched a family choose each other after everything tried to tear them apart, August arrived in Chicago like a promise kept late. The air carried the first real warmth of the season, humid, alive, smelling of cut grass and distant lake water. Lincoln Park basketball court sat empty at 6:17 a.m., dew still silver on the blacktop. Marcus arrived first. He bounced the ball once, twice, sharp, deliberate sounds echoing off the chain-link fence. Lily followed, sneakers laced tight, ponytail swinging. She carried the ball under her arm like a shield she no longer needed. They didn't speak much, just waited. At 6:29, Victoria appeared at the gate. No coat. No scarf, just running shoes, leggings, a faded Lang-Tech hoodie she hadn't worn in public since the scandal. Her hair was loose, catching the first slant of sunrise. She stopped 10 feet away, close enough to be seen, far enough to respect the boundary. Lily looked at her father. Marcus gave the smallest nod. Lily walked forward, stopped in front of Victoria. "You came early," Lily said. "I didn't want to be late." Lily studied her face. No anger left, just careful assessment. "I'm not calling you anything special yet," Lily said plainly. "Not Mom, not Aunt, just Victoria, for now." Victoria's lips curved, small, grateful. "For now is more than I expected." Lily held out the ball. "Play?" Victoria took it. Fingers closed around the pebbled leather. The ball felt heavier than it should. Memory, not weight. They played. No score, no rules, just movement. Marcus watched from the sideline, arms folded. Sun climbed higher, painting long shadows across the court. Lily dribbled hard, passed to Victoria, clean, no hesitation. Victoria caught it, hesitated half a second, then sent it back with a soft bounce pass. Lily laughed once, short, surprised, real. Victoria missed a layup. The ball clanged off the rim. Lily grabbed the rebound, drove past her, scored. Victoria smiled, not triumphant, relieved. Marcus finally stepped onto the court. He caught the next pass from Lily, held the ball, looked at Victoria. She met his eyes, no pleading, just presence. He bounced the ball once, passed it to her, gentle arc. She caught it, dribbled slowly, then passed it back. The rhythm built. 3 people, 1 ball, no words needed. When the sun cleared the trees, light poured gold across the asphalt. Sweat glistened on their skin. Breathing came steady, matched. Lily stopped first, hands on knees, grinning. "I'm starving." Marcus wiped his forehead with the hem of his shirt. "Pancakes." Lily looked at Victoria. "You coming?" Victoria's breath caught, just once, small enough to miss if you weren't watching closely. "If it's okay," Lily shrugged one shoulder. "It's okay." They walked off the court together, not touching, not rushing, side by side. Marcus fell into step beside Victoria. Their shoulders brushed once, accidental, then deliberate. Neither pulled away. At the gate, Lily ran ahead, ball tucked under her arm, calling over her shoulder. "First one home picks the toppings." Marcus and Victoria slowed. The city woke around them, sirens distant, birds loud, L-train humming somewhere overhead. He looked at her. She looked back, no grand declaration, no tears, just quiet certainty. "You stayed," he said. "You let me?" A small, real smile passed between them. They kept walking. Sunrise light caught Lily's ponytail ahead, turning it copper. Behind them, the court stood empty again, ball marks still fresh on the dew, shadows shrinking as the day began. Three people who had almost lost each other had chosen instead to stay. Not perfectly, not easily, but together. If this quiet sunrise ending, after all the rage, all the betrayal, all the apologies, has left something aching in your chest, let us know in the comments. What does chosen family mean to you after everything breaks? Share this full story with someone who needs to believe second chances aren't fairy tales, they're choices. And if these 10 chapters moved you, subscribe to Millionaire CEO Stories. More stories of power, pain, and the people brave enough to choose love anyway are coming. Thank you for staying until the end. The end.